All right, guys, we're back live. Sorry about all that internet issues going on here on Spencer's end. So,
Yeah, my
uh,
bad.
Blame it on.
but anyway, we had Ghost Ayami talking about his stream stuff, answering Awkward's question. Basically, I'm going to leave it back off to you guys and leave off right off where we left off like 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
Well, pretty much what I was saying is just that, you know, with when it comes to my lessons, I don't, just do the basic pro lesson where it's, here's a couple need points, here's how to straight, here's how to, play it. It's not like that, it's really just more an individual approach. I watch your own theater and get a feel for, who you are as a player. Um, and I really just make sure that you are individually progressing in your own way, not made points, no general lessons. On top of that, I give you pretty much the whole spawn lesson and why Halo Reach, I guess comes the way it does, why it unfolds the way it does, whether you kill someone or where you're moving, how that kind of affects the whole game. So it's really a pretty thorough lesson, and on top of that, I like to be a teacher, so I like you guys to come to me after when you're just doing your own lessons. I like you to come to me and say, what can I do here to get better, or what did I do wrong in this game? That's something I want you guys to do. I feel like actually like an older teacher now, where it's like, oh, why don't these kids use their office hours? I'm here to help out at all times. So I really like to build more of a relationship with my students than just kind of be like, all right, here's your freaking general lesson, get the hell out of my face approach that most people do. So.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like that's kind of like a you build a relationship and then like you make sure that they understood everything in your lessons kind of thing. I think that's really good. Something that I think some pros lack in they just like tell you a thing and then like get out of here. So
Yep.
really good stuff. Um, so let's see, Mr. X. I'm going to ask you, what do you think about of all, looking for a place to go for like one specific game in the pro gaming? What do you think about Ghost and all its content being brought to Halo? Like, how does that attract you to the Halo community side of things?
The way it drags me towards Halo is like, people like Ghost and T Squared, Neighbor, people like that, like, just knowing them and watching them, and like, their following is like so much bigger. Like I've won tournaments and like multiple other games, but like, really, like it seems like Halo is like the biggest of all of the console shooting games. Like the way it's gone through MLG, the whole circuit, for years. So.
Yeah.
At this point, I really have nothing like to prove on basically all the other titles except for I've never even played a Halo to be honest. So I really have nothing. I have no basis off of what I would be at in skill wise. But I think like the next step for me would be give it a try and see what can happen.
You've never owned a Halo game?
Maybe Gus will be my coach. No,
Never.
I have never
What?
played them. Yeah,
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
I. It's it's like a game that I can't really say like I've had like an urge to play. Like I played Rainbow Six, I played Call of Duty, I played Gears, I played Battlefield, I played like Unreal, Quake. I basically played everything else besides it.
What? Well, I
So
guess I guess I guess the
Is there
question
any
is,
reason?
yeah, let's say what's the reason you haven't bothered to buy it or even play it?
you know, it's the same thing that I say about Call of Duty, that like as the commercials for the game get better, the game actually gets like worse, like production wise. But like watching Halo Reach, like I mean, I don't I don't see a problem with the game the way it was played at MLG. Like I know Ghost, like you guys like we're talking about the no bloom, no sprint stuff, but
Yeah.
like don't you think like it would make the game more interesting for people to watch if all that stuff was thrown in there? Because then it feels like a new game. Like I feel
Yeah,
like the
and
problem with
that's
Halo is
and
that
I,
like you guys have been playing the same game for years on years on years and years with the same game modes.
yeah.
So like how much repetition like the same thing over and over again can can it be like, can it be done?
I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from, and regarding like Halo Reach and the whole sprint idea, like, that's exactly the approach that MLG and Kilo KC kind of took it at the beginning. You know, they said, "Oh, we got a new game in front of us. We can't really look at the past. We gotta expand on the sprint and the abilities that they gave us, and you know, this is the disc that people are putting in their Xbox, so we can't, you know, strip it down to the bare essentials like we used to." And I mean, obviously, you saw a decrease in the
Yeah.
and really just the fan base for it. And like, you know, whether that's StarCraft helping out or, you know, just Halo as it is, it just, I feel like, you know, a lot of the people who are always, you know, that repetition of 256 teams every single time, that solid crew, you know, I feel like that a lot of that was lost when we introduced all these new abilities. You know, like when we had Halo 3, you know, we took out the bubble shield, we took out the power drainer, and then, you know, all the other random stuff like that. When we had Halo 2, we took out dual wielding, we took out, you know, a couple other things like that. Just the
Right.
shotgun was a little bit too powerful at times. And then, you know, even in Halo 1, you started out with the plasma pistol, and we swapped that to the pistol and the assault rifle. So I feel like it was just like a trend for us to continue to keep our fan base. But, you know, we experimented, and I think that we, you know, if other people saw it as, you know, a versatile game, rather than just another, you know, copy of Halo, like, you know, that like you probably see it as, or the
Right.
outside population sees it as. I think that, you know, we definitely took a chance, and it just is unfortunate that, you know, I feel like not many people saw what kind of potential it had to be a different type of game. And everyone really just wanted it to be, you know, the same old Halo that everyone has been used to playing for the past whatever it's been, 10 years or so.
I don't think.
Well, I mean, I guess I can relate this to Call of Duty, like he was saying, you know, how in Call of Duty they have kill streaks and everything, and I guess it's like a big thing now that they might possibly be putting in kill streaks in competitive play just because more people like to see kill streaks and like to see that kind of random shit happen in game. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with armor abilities. As much as you don't want to see them as a competitive player, it's quite possibly something that other people like to see. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever attracts the most people, I guess, is the best. But you know, at the end of the day,
Yeah, it's just,
you
and
know,
I understand what you're saying there. It's just at the same point, like when you have a kill streak, that's being rewarded for doing something, you know, awesome. Like whether it's, you know, getting 5 kills or 7 kills or 11 to get, you know, whatever you need to get there in that game. But I feel like when you bring it into Halo, and it's not, you know, a reward for a kill streak, it's just you're hitting X to get out of a situation. You know, you're hitting X
yeah,
to throw a bubble shield. You know, you're hitting X to, let's say, sprint away. You know, after you miss a couple shots. I feel like in Halo, it doesn't really work as well, because when you have this strafe and shoot gameplay where it's, you know, 5 shots to kill, whereas in Call of Duty, it's all right to sprint. It's all right to sprint in Battlefield, because, you know, you get gunned down in an instant. But, you know, when you have these strafe and shoots, it's like you can really pick your battles even if you miss your shots. So I just feel like it's almost like a too much of a get out of jail free card than it is a reward in game.
I mean, yeah, I can totally see that just because I feel like with sprint, you can put yourself in a bad situation and get yourself out of a bad situation, you know, in no time flat. Which, I mean, you shouldn't be rewarded for doing that. So, I mean,
Exactly.
I understand what you're saying in that aspect.
And that's the only reason I feel like it actually hurt the fan base, is because like it was just almost seen as like an unfair game. It just brought everyone, you know, on top of Bloom and Sprint and everything else, it just brought the game and everyone else closer in skill rather than spreading them apart. You know, you look at Halo 1, which I mean to some is considered one of the best games ever made, and you start out with that best weapon. You know, if your pistol is the best, you're the best. You know, and that's like, you know, even in Call of Duty, you know, you get decent enough, you get whatever gun and perks you want, and you know, if you're the best with it, you're the best with it. You can beat anyone. And I feel like in Halo, you know, it's just, why should someone be, like I said, just really rewarded for just getting out of cover, or, you know, missing a couple shots, or, you know, even if you're running the flag and you run it the complete wrong way, like you can just sprint away. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But that's really my beef with the settings.
Yeah, I mean, it's
DC,
kind
you think the? Oh, sorry. No, you can go.
of.
I was
Well,
gonna say I don't think I can hear him.
My bad.
no, I was just gonna say it's kind of the same thing now with evade. How everybody's realizing it's overpowered. So, I mean,
Mhm.
you can't really. As much as other people would like to see that kind of stuff, you don't really want to make an unfair advantage for other players because it's just going to deter them away from wanting to play anyways.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
But
and really just deterring the competitiveness, the
Yeah.
competitive player. I feel like.
I had something I was saying, but I think I had my mic muted. That was embarrassing. But yeah, what I was saying was I think every Halo game, Bungie has tried to add something to the mix in the game that made it easier for competitive or for casual players. You realize that it's so obvious, but I just hope they don't continue that trend for Halo 4.
Well, I think that's the
But now it's
problem with
343.
that's the problem with first-person shooter competitive gaming on consoles in general. I think is that the people who make the games try and make them for casual players. They don't make them for people like us. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That like I'm like a big Unreal player, and like the Unreal that they came out for Xbox 360 Tournament 3, it was awful.
Yeah,
Like
do remember that.
yeah, like I don't even call it Unreal. I just call it 3. That's it. I don't even wanna associate the Unreal name with it. And like look at Gears from Gears 1 to Gears 3. Like
Yep.
Gears 1 was like so much better. But what they the problem is if they make it too hard, they're not going to sell what they need to sell, which I understand from their point, but I mean,
Definitely.
there's a lot of people like us. Now, Ghost,
Still care
question
about
for
the
you. Question
Yeah.
for you, Ghost. Do you think that, I mean, when you go to like an MLG tournament, like you're gonna place pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Yeah.
a good chance you're gonna make money. But
Yeah.
like, would you, if you weren't one of the better players, would you still have gone to those tournaments, even though you knew
Um,
like there wasn't really a chance?
It depends if you're. I mean, regarding Halo 2, and definitely, I feel like I had a blast playing that game, like inside and out. Obviously, winning is one of the best feelings, so that is
Yeah.
really what compels you to, keep going. But I mean, I think I mean, you run into a ton of people that have that passion for the game still, even though they know that they can't compete at that level. You have all these people that are staff or outside the game that really just love the community and love what kind of friendships they make through it. So I feel like I would
See,
definitely still attend for Halo 2, maybe Halo 3 even, but something like Reach, I just like with the whole game type settings. If I wasn't pro beforehand, I would have been turned off immediately
yeah,
with the sprint option.
because see, I think that's one of the things that could change. They could change the way. Imagine you had the league set up in a way where you had your 16 pro teams, right?
Mhm.
And then the championship bracket has their own payout per money, whatever.
Yeah.
And then championship brackets, 32 teams. So you have the 16 pro teams and the 16 teams that make it out from AM, right?
Correct. Yep. Correct.
When you make it out from AM, if you're one of those 16 teams, think of that as its own tournament. So those teams get paid to make it out of AM. Not
Yeah,
a lot, but they make
yeah.
something. And then they
Yeah,
get
as an
thrown into the
incentive to keep
32
going.
team bracket, and then they're up against the pros. Because see, that's
Exactly.
the thing. That's the thing where I think it takes away from all of the teams on multiple games, not just Halo. Like Rainbow, we had this problem too. Is that like there were realistically only 4 teams that had a chance to win the tournament,
Exactly.
and that like there are kids that love the game, but at the same time, like I mean, it's not like money's not like going crazy right now. Like
It is not.
like why would they spend their money to go? But see, like something like that, if they switched up the system,
Mhm.
then you'll have the same 128 teams fighting over, I don't know, let's say the first place out of the 16 teams in AM makes like 800 apiece or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
like at least they walk away with something, and then championship,
Yeah.
and then
I agree.
I think that plus the rule change would definitely bring a lot more teams back, and probably some new teams.
For sure. And then even like back like when I was talking about Halo 2, I actually, when I was going, you weren't making really any money whatsoever. When I went to my first tournament, I got top 12. I didn't get anything whatsoever. And then I flew out to California on my own money that I worked hard for, and I went to LA and I got top 8 in the top 8 in the 4v4s, and I got 6th in the free for all, and then or was it 4th in the free for all? I don't know. It was something along those lines, and I ended up taking home only $400, and that didn't even cover my my plane ticket. And my mom was like, pretty much complaining at me, what are you doing, wasting all your time when you're not even coming home, profiting.